exciting game number 3 here, guys, is LGD taking on Newbee. Best of 3 showdown. Coming in, Ben, I had LGD as slight favorites. I don't know if you ever made a prediction. Who do you think's going to take it?
I didn't think. I think it's kind of 50-50. If Newbee can get their aggressive game together, then they're great. If not, then LGD will kind of beat them with more.
Win the more standard game. Yep. All right, let's see what kind of game it is. Draft's underway. Game 3 has begun. And
ban that Chen.
Yeah, things are quite a bit different here with the Darkseer getting banned phase 1 as well. It got ignored in game 1.
I think it's ROTK's best balance of hero that's really useful at teamfight, decent at lane control, and difficult to die with.
It was it is but statistically by far his most successful hero. I think he was like 18-4 on it, something along those lines. So he's got a really good win rate.
So I wonder if Newbee are going to try and use a substitute as the Enchantress for Chuan to keep up a very similar amount of aggression in the early game. I think that Chuan plays way differently on those two. Not that you should play the same on every support, but like the amount of aggression that he can put out with those two is kind of unrivaled compared to his other support roles, support repertoire.
Ooh, Newbee with the curveball now. Venge Batrider. So they get the lasso counter as well as the lasso. LGD, we've seen a lot of teams go for the Oracle in this situation.
I don't think any of these teams have drafted Oracle. I looked it up before and trying to see which teams pick up the new school heroes like Earth Spirit and Oracle, and neither of these two teams touched that hero at all. Although it is, I think, one of the best Batrider counters.
Well, instead, LGD are going to go for their own vision and map control. They grab the Night Stalker again, so third time running the hero.
It's a semi-solution at Batrider in terms of him having super limited vision.
And you getting eyes on him very early. The Gem Wars should be very interesting in Game 3, if we get to that point. Now into the second stage of bans. Both teams have a good idea of some of the game plan. LGD kind of tipping their hand here early with the gyro pick. Getting something very stable.
LGD need to make sure that they have a support dedicated to shutting down Tule. I think like last game was a very evident showing of how out of control he can get if it's straight one-on-one, or he even has the number advantage in his lane. So they have to be careful about letting him run loose.
And of course, as Batrider, you've always got options in the offlane, so definitely not an easy offlaner to shut down. LGD will ban out the Invoker.
So what's a hero that ROTK can play that contributes a lot to team fight that is not easy to pick on? That isn't Tidehunter
or Darkseer. Used to be Clockwork, but he's not very good in this patch, it seems, and
not good versus
the heroes that
two,
I vote.
Yeah.
What else does RTK play?
He very rarely plays the farming ones, like Lone Druid, let's say.
Yeah, and Nature's Prophet is just food for Batrider Venge, so...
Nature Prophet isn't that bad, though.
Oh, the Visage gets banned out very quickly after what MMY did in Game 1, no surprises, and then they instantly pick the Jug for Newbee. Seems the most popular carry to counter Gyro right now. Also helps you rush quite a bit.
So Newbee are kind of...
But yeah, I can't think of an RTK hero that really jumps out at me. I mean, unless he plays Night Stalker.
Spirit Breaker, I suppose. He's had a decent amount of success on Spirit Breaker. So Newbee have drafted this situation and learned from their past couple of games. Firstly, they realized that LGD's Visage and MMY's in particular is very, very strong at shutting down the offlaner, and that they need to give Tule a space creating offlaner. So they gave him Batrider this game. They banned out the Visage, and like this dual support cannot really deal with a Batrider at all. Like they can like kind of poke at him a little bit, but they can't like completely zone him out. It's very difficult for them to like steal his stacks. So I like this route from Newbee, and also they've kind of banned out ROTK and kind of drafted him as like, oh, okay, what are you going to pick that we won't be able to dumpster on? especially since they have a super strong safe lane with Bench Jug.
And on top of that, they also have solutions for the gyro here in spades. Great initiation. Razor, one of the best carries to just man up on him and tank him in the team fights. And very well-rounded draft from Newbee. A little bit light on the AoE control, but I would say that's the only thing they're really lacking.
Yeah, they drafted really well against Gyrocopter too. The
It's a
Bat
bad
Rider
gyro game at this point.
It really is, and they often draft the Morphling versus the Bat Rider, so their carry's safe from lasso. But this game they can't because they already given. They maybe they put Gyrocopter on the mid lane though, and give Siler something a little bit safer. I wouldn't be too surprised to see.
Yeah,
them
but
do
then
that.
you're gyro against a Razor. That's not a
Yeah.
fun matchup.
But at this point, Gyro gets like kind of destroyed by 3 heroes. If he gets lassoed in a fight, or swapped even, he gets Omni Slash and just dies. Omni Slash also just wrecks Gyrocopter.
And LGD have no save either.
Yeah, and Razor's also really good at just running in on a Gyrocopter, taking away all his damage, and being very good at not being phased by the single target spells from Rubik, as well as the single target spells from Night Stalker. So, all in all, this is a very well constructed draft from Newbee. And the Gyrocopter first pick actually kind of shot themselves in the foot, it seems like.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, they also could have grabbed the Tide instead of the Night Stalker, which would have given them a lot more insurance against the Bat Rider. But they're going to try to play the vision game here. They do grab a Witch Doctor, so it looks like it will be the offlane Night Stalker with this. So we'll see how it works, but I mean, it does fit the bill as far as not being easily zoned out and being strong in the lane.
I would like to see LGD give more support to ROTK in the early game, though. I think he plays very well if he can play aggressively, but in 3-on-1 situation, you just simply cannot play aggressively. But 3-on-2, or even the threat of a support coming in with like a Witch Doctor to turn things around.
They can do it this game. Gyro
Yeah.
should be fine. If
They
he's the safe laner.
can, but do they do it? Is the question. Like
Very rarely.
Yeah.
Almost never. RTK doesn't like help.
So what are we looking at? Potentially a maybe hero banned out for them. I think. Okay, so
They are expecting the mid gyro.
LGD's turn to bat.
yeah, they want Bat Rider to have as much of an impact as possible, and Night Stalker kind of shuts him down, as well as kind of Rubik with his low cast point. But overall, their lineups I think still very vulnerable to Bat Rider initiation,
10
which is
seconds
not very good at
remaining.
all, as well as having poor support. I guess Rubik Witch Doctor is a stronger support duo than Night Stalker or Rubik, so that they have that going for them.
LGD banning out the Enchantress here. They really want to limit what he can do in the laning stage. And who can blame them after that Chen performance in game number 2?
I think Spear Breaker would be pretty good for them. They can kind of, this is an alternative way for Bat Rider to, get really good jumps on and fight. Because all they really need to do is just start off the fight, and I think they have a superior team fight, especially if they can eliminate like Gyrocopter or something really quickly. What else is good and manly for them?
Earthshaker's manly.
Yeah, not
LGD
terribly
Not
great versus
great
Rubik,
versus Rubik, yeah.
but it's still synergizes pretty well with Bat Rider if you have them both on the same team, because just lasso, block everyone off with fissure, and then the lassoed hero is just stuck on the other side of the fissure. So what do LGD do now? They could like go for anti-mage, which is somewhat of an alternative to Morphling.
I feel like Newbee have great tools for dealing with AM though.
They do, but like it's
10 seconds remaining.
what hero can maybe play that can actually deal with this sort of lineup though.
So it is the maybe gyro. The Sylar Lycan.
Siler's
Not an easy Lycan
not
game
an
either.
easy Lycan game, but I think having Gyrocopter as that safe lane core though versus lineup is just set up for disaster.
They also did not have anyone to take towers or objectives, so this gives them a fighting chance at grabbing Roshan, mowing down some structures early on.
But do you really want to like push into this though? Yeah, sure, it's a good Roche lineup, but pushing into Razor and Earthshaker and Bat Rider, especially if he gets an early blink, is just a utter disaster. And he also doesn't really have that great a kill potential on Bat Rider. I mean, Howl into double stun is decent, but it's
10
not
seconds
super
remaining.
reliable. And if Lycan's left alone in lane versus Bat Rider, then Bat Rider can have a
5
free time.
seconds remaining.
So
I mean, other Sylar heroes that they could have gone for. You mentioned AM. There's also Terrorblade. Who else? I mean, we saw the Slark last game. That was very ineffective.
Overall, I like Newbee's lineup, and again, it has that mix of being good against BKB because they have a lot of minus armor, and Razor's especially good at dealing with BKB wars. So I mean, LGD have kind of two heroes that probably need BKB, especially Gyro. So this was I think a slight outdraft coming out from Newbee.
Let's see if they can convert that outdraft into a win. LGD moving out now as we get underway. Game 3 of our lower bracket match. Then we'll hop over the winner bracket and see who's heading into the grand finals to await their final opponent. But for now, Newbee LGD deciding match. And both teams get out on the map. Some fairly defensive wards planted down here by Newbee. One on the mid hill, one in their own jungle.
30 seconds to battle.
Well, LGD just getting one ward to scout out what happens in the tree line there.
So first thing that LGD needs to do is limit Batrider's farm. Limiting the Blink Dagger timing will free up a lot of space. Ideally, they can delay it until like 16-minute, which is second nighttime, but that's like a very unrealistic hope. But you know, that's kind of what you want to aim for. Make him have a super rough time, force him to jungle, give free farm for Lycan, and if he's able to contest Lycan's farm, that's a really bad sign from them.
So it looks like RTK is going to grab that early Iron Talon in the off lane, so it's something different from him. I think this is a hero he can have a pretty big impact on, though.
Let's hope so.
And he's just going to start in the jungle. So
I'm not even going to risk it, guys.
All right, no first bloods for me. Just don't die to the neutrals, RTK.
So I saw the Tule ping out the ward, the Radiant ward. I'm not sure if he's going to deward it immediately. It's a little bit further away than the usual sentry spot, but this is a very important ward for LGD to keep up.
Oh man, this is a great lane for Bat.
It's a lot of stacks.
This has got to be top 10-20% lanes. They're gonna need the Rubik's help.
Yeah, that's bad. They gave him level 2 kind of already.
Like, how do you even harass a Batrider with a Witch Doctor Lycan?
And then he's gonna see that the camp didn't spawn too, so he's gonna know that the ward's there.
Guess you do have the Howl damage. Maybe with that they can come back. The cast does come through, but Tule still able to survive through that initial round of damage. Does get forced back a bit, but he is essentially level 2 at this point. We'll see if he even just goes all the way home.
No salve though.
Yeah, I guess he is going to walk all the way back. And Chuan's already hunting for the Lycan. Or, sorry, the Night Stalker. But not going to find RTK. So he's deeper in the jungle.
Iron Talon is your best friend, ROTK.
I'm surprised that he doesn't go for Iron Talon, plays more.
Iron Talon Darkseer. Iron Talon Zeus.
Hey, it works on Phoenix, you know. I don't see why. I guess he needs the armor.
I mean, ROTK could always use the armor.
So they are already doing some stacking here with the Earthshaker, giving the Batrider his additional jungle farm for later on, or actually maybe for now, as he is heading down mid lane. Looks like he's going to abandon bottom for the time being.
Yep, that's a good job by LGD, forcing him to go back.
Yeah, now they're being pretty efficient, rotating their
Is he gonna
support.
dive maybe?
Uh-oh.
With a Batrider level 1? With boots? Okay, he's level 2 now.
There's a Rubik blatantly visible in the lane as well. So I think at this point he just goes to the woods. He's going to start throwing out the Napalm. This is level 2. DDC just getting tons of pulls off here. So LGD making pretty good use of the map, all things considered. But they are giving away free farm
Juggernaut's
here
one
now.
of Hal's best heroes, I feel like.
Juggernaut, Lifestealer, Weaver, probably his big 3. He has played an anti-mage here or there on occasion. So I wouldn't really say it's the most iconic of HAL heroes.
So it looks like maybe is farming okay versus the Razor. Not great.
Saving some skill points for now.
Yeah, Rocket is not terribly great versus the Razor.
The homing missile, you mean?
Oh yeah, what'd I say?
You said, well,
The
you said
Razor?
rocket.
Rocket? Yeah, homing missile.
Yeah, I always call it rocket, even though it's rocket barrage for
Missile.
the damage spell. The damage spell. Actually, they're pretty much
They're
all
all
gyro
damage
spells are damage spells. So that doesn't really help.
But they're farming the crap out of their jungle. LGD is, and the Observer Ward didn't block the camp. It looks like so they are just, getting good levels on DDC.
Yeah, Newbee is somewhat farming their jungle with the stacking, as we'll see a little skirmish here for the top rune. Fissure comes through onto MMY. They're going to start to steal his damage, but the toss back, very well placed. Prevents any Razor chasing, though the Fissure actually dragged the creeps in and blocked MMY's way. Had Newbee just continued chasing him, they might have been able to kill him there. But
They're wondering where the heck the Night Stalker is. And
I mean, they've got to know at this point. Now they're going to see him.
yep. But he would only have 2 camps to work with. Uh-oh. ROTK. As soon as he gets back to lane, bad things start happening.
They do have backup coming, though. Rubik's arriving. He's very tanky. Fissure's committed. They've thrown so much at RTK. Chuan's going to end up going down here. Hal may drop as well. And LGD are going to punish in a big way. They were ready for that. Omni Slash only now getting the experience for it.
That's how you play around ROTK. The armor came in really useful. And
I mean, this is what I've been saying with the Darkseer. Like, a lot of the time. He'll come to lane, he'll feed a first blood, then he'll go to the jungle. Just start in the jungle.
Yep. Level 5 in 5 minutes. That is 90th percentile performance from ROTK for his leveling. That's great. And
He's going to have a big impact this game.
this is what they needed from the Witch Doctor last game. Like, if they tower dive, just bone them with casks. Like, there's like so little chance of a kill happening when casks are dropped like that. It's incredibly difficult. And now Newbee are like, crap, it's nighttime. What do we do?
And the Wolves are scouting them. Very nice. That's something Sylar is very disciplined about, is constantly moving the Wolves about to keep tabs on the enemy team. And, with the Night Stalker, they actually have quite a bit of vision here to deal with the Bat Rider later on. Smoke now. Was not scouted, I don't think. Oh, meanwhile, Witch Doctor gets assassinated top. Just Hal coming in with the Blade Fury. Didn't even have to commit the Omni Slash. Now that's a hero that Cask is not going to help you against. As they do find Tule down in the river. The Wolves are going to join the party here, and it looks like Tule is going to get shut down. Ooh, close call, but he can't make it up the hill in time. He is not farming particularly well.
Good Howl coordination.
Quick reaction there on the silence as well. So they will pressure the tower.
ROTK being very nice and active, contributing a lot to their early game.
I would say the games where he has a start like this, they win the vast majority of the time. Like, even just not dying in the offlane, those games they win.
Our standards are so low that all he has to do is just not die. Please, ROTK.
It's just like, it's also like their mid-game execution is generally so polished with so few mistakes that if they have that start, like, Sylar maybe aren't going to really make any big errors, and they just have these overwhelming teamfight compositions. This time it's a little bit different with how they've drafted. But
man, I didn't expect them to have this much of an impact. And Newbee are kind of playing on the back foot now. How is Bat Rider stacking and leveling? They really need his Blink Dagger. It is not coming anytime soon.
No, he's had a rough start, Tule.
And some Mud Golems to boot.
They are making a rotation on the top lane. Earthshaker swinging around, but RTK is coming in hot. He wants some blood. Fissure's there. Omni Slash does secure the kill. He can try to turn this one onto the Earthshaker, go to work with auto attacks and force out TPs. Now he's going to go back to Hal and also try to force him to TP away, but Hal is the phase boot, so he'll scurry back up to 1,900 gold now. 3-2 the score at 8 minutes.
Nice ward placed by Newbee in that top lane. Get some quick and easy kills. Make use of that T1 being down and make the LGD heroes feel very unsafe farming away from their T2.
Again, ultimate gets popped, and Sylar's going to charge in. On to Moo he goes. He's got the Wolves here. Call down coming through as well, and it will clip Moo, but the Fissure block is brilliant by Lei, completely keeping the Wolves away. Unable to pursue further. That will end the engagement. Great Earthshaker positioning.
Sick Fissure.
Nasty. Need the WWF announcer for a Fissure that good.
LGD are you know, that would have been a very fortunate pick for them. I think they can pressure the mid tower and do Rosh Rashan very early with the Lycan Vlads. So that's a very fortunate counter gank or preventative gank from Lei. Much needed.
Yeah, they got to buy time for this Batrider to come online. Because the whole lineup does really hinge on him. Earthshaker and Venge having pretty rough starts are not going to be contributors for a long time.
It's going to be tough, though, if he doesn't get it until 12, because then he's going to have to deal with nighttime. And you can smoke during nighttime, but it's still not a high probability gank from there.
I think he should get it up around 11 if he doesn't die again. Yeah, 2,000. Actually, even sooner than
He's
that.
having a good time.
He's just been turbo farming the jungle.
More Muggles.
So Juggernaut builds, we've seen a lot of them. We saw CTY do 2 different builds in the same series yesterday. One game he went for the Battle Fury build. Other game he went for the, I'll call it the 6.83 build. You know, your Mask of Madness, S and Y, Scotty. Dominated both times. So it seems that Jug continues to be very versatile with what actually works, even though there was a period where everyone was getting Battle Fury for about 3 or 4 weeks, I would say.
All right, here's where the game gets spicy. How went an early game build, not committing to Battle Fury. Batrider has his blink. 2 minutes left on daytime.
They have a darkness ready. Calldowns online.
And there's
Spells are going to be stolen soon.
there's a medallion up on Siler too, so they know that they just want to pick into towers and a Roche. That's LGD's game plan right now. Are they going to get it though? And they smoke too on the side of Newbee. I see Batrider popping his smoke.
Uh-oh. Oh, like it. He's a bit far away from his team. Sylar caught out. Blade Fury's there, and the Wolf is down. Skinned very quickly by Newbee.
Wow. Newbee
That was the most fortunate time for LGD to be splitting up there.
LGD were just like 5 seconds too slow. If they had that Observer Ward down, they pop the smoke, and then they counter gank they pull back.
They get 3 kills there probably.
Yeah, that would have been. That was so close.
That was just brilliant timing for Newbee to.
Wait, didn't they also smoke under the? Did they smoke under the ward?
No, they were smoked behind it.
That was very unfortunate for them though. Sylar kind of serving as bait, but his team was just a little bit too far ahead.
Now getting aggressive here. They want to move in. It is daytime. Night Stalker ultimate gets forced out. Not going to matter. How gets the kill with the Omni? And that is a big blow to LGD as their darkness gets blown.
They've lost so much momentum off those 2 kills. Batrider Blink could not have come at a better time.
Well, Chuan is going to give a little offering to LGD here, but that does not make up for what they've hemorrhaged over the past couple minutes. But the next nighttime is coming soon, so LGD will get a little bit more momentum back perhaps at that point as maybe looks for the dive here. He's got a call down available, and he's got to cut off lane. Nowhere to run, aside from back to the well. Perhaps they have a stun. Not going to get there. Or not going to get out in time.
I don't know if they're going to get the mid tower though.
They're going to get the Roche.
Oh. Ooh, that's quick. They know though.
That's Lasso.
I think he can do enough with just starting off with napalms inside a pit, but where's his team? Are they waiting for a smoke? It might be too late.
Roshan starting to drop pretty quickly. That medallion, which we don't see much anymore, is paying off. Venge going to lob in a wave of terror. That does make LGD's job a bit easier
napalms
here,
will
though.
make you fear for your life, though. Getting napalmed in a pit where
Getting
you can't
roasted
see a
while Roshan's beating you.
He doesn't have enough mana, though.
And I guess he's just going to skip the lasso at this point. Keep on spamming the napalm. They do have arcane boots on one of their supports, I believe, but
His Firefly's going to be down, isn't it? Uh-oh. Well, oh,
free Roche.
That's it.
Thanks for the wave of terror, say LGD.
Wow.
And now it's nighttime with an Aegis on the gyro.
Man, losing the Earthshaker was so devastating for them, too. They could have, separated the Lycan inside the pit with this team. But nice maneuver by LGD. They lose 2 relatively important heroes, too. The Lycan and the Night Stalker, and then immediately...
And they get a support and then just go straight into the pit.
Yeah. That's actually a really good
Look
maneuver,
at that
though.
graph. This has definitely been the closest game of the series and the most back and forth by far.
Uh-oh. Observer Ward deep in the jungle. Can they pick off the Razor? Wow, super safe with it.
Moo's been very quiet this game so far. Had that crazy start, but haven't really seen much
I'm
since.
surprised he didn't go mech. If he, I don't know if he would have had gold for it. Uh-oh. Chuan.
This is some revenge for last game. Not gonna see that explosive Chen performance. Instead, we're gonna see Chuan getting pummeled, bitten by a rabid wolf, and sent home.
Man, they are just deathly afraid of making any sort of move during nighttime.
You think too afraid?
I think too afraid. I think I mean, they're kind of locked into the pit. I guess they didn't have their Shaker. Maybe if Shaker bought back there, maybe if Batrider had a little bit more mana, but they were, like, I think you at least like bounce inside the pit with the Firefly, but the napalm. He also didn't throw out napalm stacks early enough. He like flew and scouted, but you want them like, okay, I have 3 napalm stacks. If I don't back, I'm just gonna burn. And even if he gets like pulled into them, you still have Firefly in the middle of your fight, and you still have
And
napalm
still
stacks.
gonna stop you from finishing the Roche.
Yeah, and Hao can just run in there with his spin and still be pretty useful, even if he doesn't have Omni Slash. But that's, you know, and on top of that, the Vengeful Spirit waved the Roche.
Which helped them, Roche.
Yeah, you kind of want to do it like close to the entrance of the pit, so you scout out the opponents and hit them without hitting Roche. But they were kind of caught with their pants down and just, you know, caught unprepared. They didn't have their ideal fight. Batrider didn't have enough mana. No Omni Slash on Juggernaut. Vengeful Spirit not in a good position to wave without waving Roche, and, you know, a little bit of preparation is all they needed.
So let's see what happens now. Nighttime continues at 15 minutes. LGD start to ramp up the aggression. They had the lane ward top. They get the deep ward down in the dire jungle. And now it's Newbee's turn to try and play a little tower defense. They do Fissure Siler after the lasso. Locking him in position. Has no shapeshift. Gets blown up very early on in the fight. Hao, though, with the Omni Slash, it's stolen by MMY. Looking for the counterplay here, perhaps. They do bring down the Juggernaut, and they're going to hunt for a bit more. They can kill off Mu with the Omni, and it looks like it will be enough. The swag plays from Momoya. Now the Echo Slam, though, to turn it around. They have lost their Aegis. Going to be round 2 for the Gyrocopter, though, as Lei gets off an Enchant Totem. The Void onto 2 Lei. They want to kill all the Leis, blasting him back with the Batrider. Not enough for fall in the end. They kill off the last one, RTK from distance. LGD, the full 5-man wipeout. That was devastating.
A lot of small things that fight. Again, just a little bit of preparation. There's no stick on the Juggernaut, so he wasn't able to spin after the Omni Slash, which would have bought him a lot of time, and it would have led to a different spell being stolen from Rubik, which would have not spelled Razor's death. So having a Quelling Blade instead of a stick is they paid greatly for that.
He's going back for a Battle Fury after the Yasha Mascabendas, so very Glass Cannon Juggernaut build.
Yeah, now they have to farm. On top of that, they gave the Aegis to the Lycan instead of the Gyro instead of Lycan. And I think Lycan's like way more likely to die in the fights just because he's usually the one seeking the towers and he's melee. But not that big of a deal overall. LGD still came out way on top of that fight.
I guess the Gyro brings more to the table generally with the second life.
Yeah. Lycan's more farmed though.
That's true.
So you don't want him to die. And then some lack of coordination too. Like they fissured. They tried to fissure the Lycan, but he was like on the opposite side of the Razor and the Jug, and they had to use a Flame Break to push him to the other side. Kind of a... That's not really what you want to use Flame Break for. You want to use it like push the supports away so you can just isolate a hero. Or, you know, push that hero back into you. But they blew a lot of cooldowns to try and kill him.
Not sure Hal was too happy about those creeps being stolen from him.
Give me my creeps.
So they're going to go for, I guess, much more of a late game approach now with Newbee.
Well, they had a good, like, that blink timing from Batrider, and then they had a terrible nighttime, and they gave up Roche. So I think you switch game plans after that point. If you can, like, take down their T1 mid and continue off that, I see Gyro going
Top
crazy.
lane. No, he did TP away. Our Shaker.
That was close.
Well, he's going to have Blink pretty soon, and that may give LGD pause about some of their deeper aggression. But RTK is getting a lot of farms, so I imagine the Ags is coming very soon. And with that, the ability for Earthshaker to sneak up on anyone.
Wow, Razor is
a lot
poor.
more limited.
Jeez. Where are his items?
He's going BKB.
It's tough. I think I would prefer to see a mech from him with the way this game has played out, where he needs to build defensively, yet they still have a lot of physical damage. I think I prefer it to BKB in this situation.
Oh, Ags is ready. 18 minutes.
Wow.
This is going to be tricky for Newbee. And they creep in. They get positioning here. The call down comes through. It's going to delay. Lays Blink Dagger, and also Moo likely to drop here. The cast bouncing back and forth, to and fro. Moo also falling. There's 2 down. Juggernaut does make it home, but that Aghanim's timing just devastating. And what do you know? With the Lycan, they can go straight into objectives.
They have not been playing well around nighttime. Like even the other game where like Invoker just like walked into the creep to Midas, they don't have that sense of fear that the Night Stalker should instill, especially when he's this
Well, it's
far.
funny you say that because they prioritize banning and picking the Night Stalker so much that like clearly they play against the hero a lot, they respect the hero a lot, but they can't seem to deal with them.
Generally, you're like deathly afraid once a night. Like this Night Stalker is farmed too. This is like the most farm we've seen ROTK relative to anyone else in like this whole entire series, and he is a scary sight to behold. And generally, like nighttime's like, oh crap, we need to be uphill. We have to have wards. We need supports up in front, like in the fog to pop smokes, and they just didn't have any sort of preparation. They're like, they're probably
Honestly,
smoking in our jungle instead.
I've been surprised we haven't seen more offlane Night Stalker because in the China qualifiers for the Shanghai Major, IG Vitality ran it in the offlane, and they were just disgusting. He would always do this Iron Talon build. They would commit tri-lanes to shut the Night Stalker down. They try to ward his jungle. Like, he could not deny him farm. He would come out at, like, still level 5 at, 4 to 5 minutes into the game and be devastating on the first nighttime. So I'm a little surprised we haven't seen more of it, but I think this game does prove that it can be a very fearsome option. And that's the nice thing about picking it early is you don't have to decide until later how you want to run it. So.
Oh, this Razor's going to be useless. It's one of those games where I think he was supposed to have a big impact, decent matchup versus Gyro, single target, right click supports, and
counter the
crushed.
gyrocopter, but that is not going to be happening.
Yeah, doesn't have enough armor. I think is a very big problem.
So LGD basically have the total confidence and freedom to run wherever they want now.
Yep. Generally, you're scared to jump Razor, but they just do not care at all. He just flops super easily. He's kind of like just a different version of Viper, and like, do I really want to jump him first? But you need to kill him. But this game is just like he's just a large melee creep.
Are they thinking about diving how here? They're committed with the Lycan ult. He's going to go for it. Sylar, there's the fissure. Immediately breaking back is the Earthshaker, but Hao's been locked down. He's been mono burn, and he won't be able to get off the ultimate. He's going to go down. Called him coming through as they continue to chase Lei. Does reveal the Echo Slam Blink combo, but it's not much. Only the Rubik falling to that, so it's a juggernaut for Rubik. Everyone is low, though. Sylar maybe in trouble here. He's stuck around a while. Has LGD thrown away an advantage with this dive? Sylar low. The turnaround. They're sticking alive. DDC. Huge save on Sylar. Plus gets his team 3 more kills. Pristine support play. Bailing out what looked like a huge overextension by LGD. These cask bounces today have been dirty.
Witch Doctor at its finest.
Him and Venge are the supports of the patch so far. Doesn't even see that in Chen, I guess, but Chen's off to the ban.
And with that, Newbee almost certain to drop the game from here. That is kind of irreparable when they dive your T3s with the T2 still up and
you get so close to 3 kills, you get none, and you get wiped. Well,
you can't really blame them for that, too. Like Earthshaker had a fissure to stop the Lycan, and then they just like all 5 of the heroes are at the T3.
They got off the mono burn on Hao, and then he was just done. He couldn't do anything at that point. But Newbee pretty much have to contest this one, and unfortunately, they are going to be late to it with no Echo Slam.
A lot of that has to do with the Night Stalker Axe, too. Like, they had vision on the Jug.
Oh, Bat Rider going to make his way in here. He does get the lasso, but the fissure is there to hold LGD in position. Omni Slash coming through, but LGD all grouped up. Hao doesn't really get much accomplished, and Blade Fury is stolen. This time, at least, MMY won't be getting the Omni, but he's already done his work. Maybe chasing forward onto Moo. Razor running for dear life. This is not how Razor is supposed to be played, but they have no choice. Again, the fissure's on point, but just not enough follow-up nor burst to take advantage, and LGD additional kills, and now an additional Roche.
This is why I think they forfeited their first nighttime on Roche. Like, they were in this very, very similar position where they're taking Roche, but this time Night Stalker has Ags, so, like, they don't even need the ward to see the Batrider. Batrider even has enough mana for lasso, and they still lose the fight. They like trapped him inside the pit, but the Omni Slash was split amongst Roche. They have so much armor, and they're just way too farmed at this point. But you know, you want to take that fight when it's like a 3,000 gold deficit, not a 10,000 or whatever it is right now. Maybe even 15. It's
pretty bad.
It's pretty bad.
So LGD grab the Aegis, 3,500 gold on maybe, and close in on top 4 finish here at MDL. Probably the most stacked tournament since the last major, or if not the most stacked, then definitely top 1 or top 2 or 3. Looking more and more like they're in form, and with a win here, they'll only have eHome to surpass in China. Maybe not ready to give up just yet, though. They're going to trust in the Juggernaut and hope that they buy some time and some farm. But it's going to be a while before he can man up against LGD.
I'm trying to think of what Newbee could have done better in this early game. Like, what went dreadfully wrong? There was some, like, bad nighttime play from Newbee and a lot of hesitancy, but, like, I think the Batrider having to go back at level 1 was a really big blunder on Newbee's side. Like, either like have some supports down there or make sure he has a salve so he can stay in the lane and at least get level 2 so he can Firefly over. But the supports were able to play way too greedy. ROTK, like, they couldn't gank his jungle because the supports are also farming the jungle and they're like close access to him. And a lot of bad things happened because of that.
I think the Bat was very caught off guard to have the 3 supports there, because he had the 2v1 at the start, and he was playing really aggro because of it.
He didn't he didn't sentry the spawn too. I think if like he had an idea that the ward was there, if he like drops a sentry and tangos it, he gets a lot of regen, he gets level 2, he gets a decent amount of gold too, and he also had boots first, but it was just, you know, they put way too much pressure on him with the initial howl, which is a very long cooldown.
They see Moo, who just popped Eye of the Storm. Finally almost has the BKB for whatever that's worth, but he just feels like a non-factor this game.
As you said, like, it seems like if ROTK gets a good start,
it's
or
like
even
lights out for the opposition.
Yeah.
And even with bad start, I'd say they win at least half of the games where he has a terrible start. I think they should pick more offlane Night Stalker. If teams are gonna blow so many bans on like his Tidehunter and Darkseer, obviously there's other heroes like Void and Earth Spirit that are likely to get banned as well.
He also plays really well from ahead too. Like he's a
Night Stalker just suits his overall playstyle so well.
He's a naturally aggressive player.
I think Spirit Breaker, like you said, is also a pretty viable option. Also very hard to kill in the offlane, but the map, like the LGD style, I think they benefit a lot more from the map control of a Night Stalker.
Well, here it could be Newbee smoking uphill blind.
The comeback. Here we go.
Nope, just a lone support.
Just a DDC, but he's actually pretty farmed. 6,500 net worth.
Maybe if he had a gem on him, it'd be a bigger deal, but Newbee must be dissatisfied with that.
I don't think there's much to be satisfied about this game.
Razor's build too. It's tough. Treads BKB at almost 30 minutes.
There's like nowhere to go but down when you're playing from this far behind when you've gone BKB first.
I think he could have like invested in a lot of smaller items too. Like if you're dying a lot, you buy like he doesn't have an Aquila, let's say, for a little bit extra armor. Helps a lot versus how he doesn't have you know, a bracer for drums. Like drums kind of goes a long way, especially because the Juggernaut doesn't have one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, stuff like that makes a big difference in the long run and kind of can prevent you from being useful. Or useless, sorry. Useless. Not useful. We don't want that.
God forbid we have a useful teammate. Let's make sure that doesn't happen. The mid gyro is a nice wrinkle as well for LGD, something that I mean, I know teams are aware they do it because this is not the first time, but it also does open up the draft a little more. Like, we were like, oh no, what if they run safe lane gyro? That's not really going to work this game. But speaking of the gyro, he's been lassoed. Tule's going to
Doesn't he have Aegis?
Pull him in. He's got Aegis, and he's also got BKB.
Yeah.
So killing him once isn't going to happen. Killing him twice, well, good luck with that. But they'll try. They'll try mightily to hang on.
Maybe he gets all crits on his Omni Slash and cleaves everyone.
Or maybe he just gets lifted, called down, and dies instantly. Has no mana for an Omni Slash. He is very close, though. And he's hitting wolves. How? Nothing if not bold. But Sylar's busy making sure that Hal won't have a chance to turn this one around. He takes the melee Rex. LGD very close to the 2-1 win.
I think the support duo from LGD too also made a very nice adjustment, and
The early TP top.
the early TP top.
But if he's not a tanky hero like Night Stalker, I don't even think that works that well anyway.
Yeah.
He lived way too long.
Well, also the Iron Talon Star too. He was like I think level 4 when that happened, and also I think the very aggressive early play onto the Witch Doctor or onto the Bat Rider also helped them out a lot.
If it's an offlane Night Stalker, it's absolutely mandatory to just get like rush Iron Talon right away so that you can like you waste no time in getting your levels.
But overall, though, it seems like Chuan doesn't play very aggressively unless he's Chen and Enchantress, which I think is a huge detriment to their support duo. I think they do very well when they play aggressively, but he just seems to fear dying too often.
Maybe Newbee should be picking more like what Fenrir has been playing a lot of, like the Spirit Breaker, the Night Stalker for them. I mean, Earth Spirit's usually banned, but like adding a Spirit Breaker into the mix could maybe help. I don't know if it's really Chuan's cup of tea, though.
I think they could have used that, like, that would have been great for them. Because if the two supports are busy on bottom, they could just charge Gyro, rush him down with a static link, and, you know, that's kind of what they were lacking. With the Earthshaker, they can't invade the opponent's jungle at all, because there were, like, 3 heroes farming the jungle.
They've kidnapped Sylar, but there's the swap to turn things around. MMY is going to go down here on the Rubik, but the Lycan gets super up in their grill, and now the army just way too much damage. 3 dead, and like that, Newbee are going to call it. So LGD do advance into the final 4. They'll have a date with EG. And then from there, the winner will play the loser of OG versus eHome.
Excellent adjustment of play, I think, from both teams. Like, Newbee, they played much differently than game number 1, and then LGD, they played much differently from game number 2, making the necessary adjustments to kind of counter what the opponents wanted to do. And I think also the draft from LGD, I didn't like it at the start, but the way it turned out with Arutake just going to the jungle and then them zoning out the Bat Rider and then putting the Gyrocopter mid and like all these small things added up. The great play from DDC on the Witch Doctor playing defensively too.
Yeah, and he kind of masked what the actual game plan was because they were not expecting offlane Night Stalker at first. I think they even spent a ban on an RTK hero in phase 2. So,
yep. And
you know, who knows if maybe he's going mid or not? That's just a question mark. Lycan turned out to be a great pick as well, just because they needed that hero to siege towers.
And Roche. That like that first Roche kind of was
it broke the game open for sure.
Or losing 2 heroes right before that.
Definitely didn't help. Well, good effort on the opposition side by Newbee. Definitely shows some promise here, and they feel a lot stronger than
they were before
3-4 months ago. But
TI5 they were pretty weak, but now
I mean, I would say all of the Chinese teams look like they have what it takes to finish top 8 right now. LGD, Newbee, Vici Gaming, and eHome. I would say all 4 definitely strong contenders for top 8 at the major, and a couple of them could even make a run into the top 3 or 4.
It's cool because they all have different strengths too. Like LGD plays like generally very very well in their supports. They play good all game. eHome has like a ridiculously strong early game. Vici, you know, they've been playing as that 5-man ball pretty well with like a OD core, which not that many teams have had success with. So
yeah, as much as, you know, to a Western viewer in the past, like, oh, you know, the teams feel like they're drafting playing the same. We're not really seeing that.
No, it's
at least not that early
super
in this
different.
patch. Maybe as the patch evolves, we'll see more repetitive picks in play.
But it's very very cool to see. I like it.
Well, we've got a really cool match coming up, guys. The next one is going to be OG versus eHome with Coddle Guy and God stepping on to cast it for you all. So thank you for joining us. He's Merlini. I'm LD. We're going to wrap it up for the broadcast here. We've got a day and a half left, 2 more matches today, then the lower bracket finals and the grand finals tomorrow before MDL is over. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon for that winter bracket finals.
That's really nice, nigga. That's how we was living.